Holy crap, it's a video that's not about the sport track. What is this world coming to? I've had this wagon for a few years now. Back then, I wanted another vehicle to supplement the sport track. A coworker knew a guy and turned me onto this wagon. It needed some TLC. The exhaust rusted off before the catalytic converters, the valve covers were leaking like a sieve, the heater core was completely plugged, and it needed tires. I welded the exhaust back in place, replaced the valve cover gaskets, pulled the dash out and replaced the heater core, there's a time lapse of this on the channel, and put some all-terrain tires on it. Did I mention this wagon is all-wheel drive? Okay, I'm getting a bit off topic. A common issue on these Volkswagens is the ignition coil developing cracks and causing misfires when excessive moisture is in the air, fog, rain, or snow. How does one check for this issue? Simple. Remove the engine covers and spray some water on the ignition coil while the engine is running. If the engine starts misfiring, remove the ignition coil and check for cracks. The wagon is also overdue for spark plugs, and the spark plug wires are mismatched from a previous misfire issue. So we are going to replace the ignition coil, the spark plugs, and the spark plug wires. Here's the tools you'll need: a torque wrench, a 3/8 ratchet, a 1/4 inch ratchet, a flathead screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver, a spark plug gap tool, a 10mm deep socket, a 5/8 spark plug socket with a swivel attachment, and some extensions. If the engine covers have not yet been removed, remove them now. Remove the connector on the side. These connectors have a tab to pull back on. This releases the clip. A flathead screwdriver can help loosen the tab. There is also a special tool out there for this, but it is hit or miss on how well it works. Remove the front spark plug wires from the coil. Remove the 10mm nut for the RF dongle. Then remove the 4 10mm bolts that hold the coil in place. Once it is removed, it allows for easier removal of the remaining 3 spark plug wires. With the coil fully removed, we can closely inspect for any cracks. Look here, there's a nice sized crack on this connector body. This could have been the issue causing the misfires. Remove the air filter housing cover and the coolant reservoir held in place by 3 Phillips screws. Disconnect the electrical connector on the bottom side of the reservoir. Remove these 2 things to give us better access to the rear spark plug holes. Remove the spark plug wires from the spark plug holes. A slight twist when pulling can loosen the grip on the spark plug. Looking into the spark plug holes, we can see some oil leaking into the holes. This is coming from the valve cover gasket. These B5 Passats are notorious for these gaskets leaking. I'll have to do a video on them in the future. The spark plugs are 5/8 size. I highly recommend either buying a spark plug socket with a built-in swivel socket or using a separate swivel socket attached. It is a night and day difference on the ease of access. Oh wow, these spark plugs are way overdue to be replaced. The contact tip has completely worn. Here's a side-by-side comparison to the new spark plug. Time to gap the spark plugs. For this 2.8 liter V6 dual overhead cam engine, the specification is 0.063 inches. I mean, 1.6 millimeters since this is a metric vehicle. Always double check the spark plug gap before installing the spark plugs. From the box, the spark plug gap is only 0.036 inches or 0.91 millimeters. Install the new spark plugs by hand to prevent any cross-threading. Torque the spark plugs to 22 foot-pounds or 30 Newton meters. The spark plug wires are all numbered. Every cylinder is numbered. Match the numbers for easy install. The ignition coil is labeled for where each wire goes. I recommend installing all the spark plug wires to the ignition coil. And then installing the ignition coil to the block. Do not forget to install the RF dongle. Route the spark plug wires the same way as the old wires. Reinstall the coolant reservoir. Make sure to reconnect the electrical connector on the bottom. Otherwise, the instrument cluster will scream at you non-stop. Run the engine to test everything out. Since I had oil leaking into the spark plug holes, there was a bit of smoke that came out of the exhaust. This smoke cleared within a minute of the engine starting. Reinstall the engine covers and take a test drive. This is Rooster, and the wagon is now ready for the road.